Okay, I'm back, and this is going to be should be part 3 of the Tumbler build. Now I've got all my parts sanded, ready to be primed, but before I do that I thought I'd take the time to put a couple pieces together, pieces that were like two halves, and paint them as a unit instead of in halves, and that way I could take care of any seam lines or anything I got before I paint them. This here is part of the jet, where the jet propulsion unit is. I got to deburr them yet. I got the rear axle here, so I'm going to put pieces together and paint them as a whole unit. This here be the console, two halves there. I'll put that together. And then this part here, now I told you I was going to light this thing. This part here is the firewall, and on the other side is the dash. And you can see, I'm trying to hold this camera, right here is where some of the headlights go, right there. There's two goes there and two over here on the other side. Now there should be just enough room in there, if I can get this right, to get my LEDs in there. And I'm going to have to find a way to route that wire back. Alright, so here's the problem. Let me get some of these parts out of the way. Now the LEDs I bought are smallest ones I could find, and they were 1.8 and /2 millimeter. So I measured them and I come up with just a hair over 1.8 millimeter big on the lens. Now let me show you here. Have you ever seen these? Let me find it. There it is. Now you see that square base it's got to it? Now I had to sand down some of that to get them to fit in here where they're going to go, or I'm going to show you in just a second. But I took a little file and filed down the edge of that square base, because this is where they got to go. Let me get some light on this. They've got to go in these little channels right here, right there. They just don't fit, almost, but almost don't get it. So what I've done, here's the other side. So I took my little knife, my X-Acto knife, and carved that out a little bit. There's pretty much there. And did some shaving on it, carving it out. Then I had to make the holes a little bit bigger to fit these LEDs, and I just took the point of the X-Acto knife and reamed them out a little bit. You can see the difference in the sizes. And then that LED, now this is going to be a trick. Let me pick it up. That LED, it's kind of hard to do holding this camera, will fit down in there, in that channel I cut out a little bit. They'll fit down in there, and two of them will go side by side. Now they don't stick out on the end. That's pretty thick plastic right there, but they'll come right up almost flush with it. And I don't know if you can see this or not, but it got, I'm trying to catch the light for you. You can see that there's where you're supposed to stick the plastic in there for the fake headlights. There's a little, like a little ridge there. Well, I sanded that down flat and took that plastic down a little bit more, so the LEDs will come a little closer to the edge. So, but two of them will just fit in there side by side. Now you got to file a little bit on the LED, like I said. That's one that I don't think has been filed on. Here's the one I filed on. Let me get it in the camera. And I filed on the edges of it to get them to fit into them holes and them slots. Now, like I said, that's the firewall, and then you got the dash that goes behind it. And I believe there's enough room between these two halves in order to get them hooked up and run them wires down along the edge here somewhere and through the door panel. It's going to be a tight fit, but I think it'll work. Now, the other 2 or 4 headlights, I should say, the other 4 go on the roof panel up there. That's the roof panel. And I believe all I have to do with them is just make the holes a little bit bigger. And that should be no problem. There should be enough room there to get them in and then run the wires down along the edge of the roof and on back. Now, here's a problem I ran into. Let me show you the directions here. Sorry about the camera work, but I'm holding it in my hand. It tells you to glue these 2 side panels together, and that's these 2 right here. That's the interior of the car. It's upside down. There you go. Now the problem is there's 2 grooves that these fit together with, but they don't. Well, let me show you the problem. Look at that. They slide up and down them grooves. There's over 1/4 of an inch of play there. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and take my base, my floor panel, and I'll take these sides here, put them sides on there like that, along with the back panel, and get them set in there. And then I'll be able to put that door panel on and make sure it's flush with the bottom of the floor pan. I think that's what I'm going to have to do, and then I'll put the seats in later, because the way they got it going together, they want you to put the seats in first and part of the steering column, and then put the door panels and that in. But with the play in them doors, I'm gonna have to wait until I get the side panels on there first, and then put the inner door panels on. So you're gonna have to watch out for that. Now there is a nice little groove down here on the bottom that I could probably run them wires through from them headlights. I'm going to have to channel it out somewhere to get them wires to the back. I'll probably be putting the resistor on probably underneath my base. I talked to a few guys. You don't have to put the resistor right up next to the LED. You can put them back pretty far. So the resistors will probably be back underneath the base, because I don't have a lot of room. I'm just barely going to get these lights in. Now, one other problem. And if you look at the front page here, back here there's 2 more lights. Those are called spotlights. Let me find them on here. Right here they are. Let me move some of this stuff. I'm sorry about this camera work, but I'm trying to hold the camera. Let me find them here. Right here they are. 2 little spotlights. No way at all are you going to get LEDs in there. Now there's a little hole in the end of it where you're supposed to put the little plastic fake light in there. That little hole is a 1 millimeter. So I bought some 1mm fiber optic. So I think what I'll do is drill that hole all the way through and have that fiber optic come out of the back of it and go down inside the car. Now this is pretty well hidden back up under, I believe it's hidden back up underneath this roof panel. So you'll be able to see the light, but I don't think you'll be able to see the LED sticking through the back of that. And I think that's how I'm going to have to take care of that. I'm sorry, not LED, but fiber optic. I think that's how I'm going to have to hide that cable going down inside the car. So looking at the front of it here, 8 of the lights will be 1.8 millimeters LEDs, and then the 2 little spotlights will probably be fiber optics. So that's where I'm at. But I have to get some of this done to make sure I can get them lights in before I start gluing all these pieces together. So I'm going to have to get these, go ahead and channel out this other side here and get these lights in there, get them wired up, and then I can snap the 2 pieces together. So I know I was reading on some forums where guys were asking if anybody's wired up one of these things, and there's a website out there that you can go to where you can buy a pre-wired kit. Now the guy wants $70 for it plus shipping, so you're looking at around $75. If you buy just what you need, you're probably talking around $12 to $15. But you got to hook it up yourself. I can see a guy making a profit, but $70 to $75, I thought that was a little steep. So I'm going to go ahead and do this myself. Now, you can get most of this stuff. Most of where I got my stuff at is a place called Lighthouse LEDs. They're based in Washington, in the United States, out on the West Coast. And I got just about everything I needed from him. And they had it shipped here within about 2 days. So I think that's the way to go. I hate paying that kind of price for something, and plus it was a 9-volt battery, and you put the battery inside the car somewhere. He won't tell you where unless you buy his kit. But I'm not going that way. I'm going with a 12-volt system where I plug it into the wall, so I don't have to be handling the car to try and change a battery or anything. So I think that's the way I'm going to go. I'm going to do this myself. But if anybody wants to know, get some, if you can find them, 1.5 millimeter. But I got the 1.8, and I got some 1 millimeter fiber optics. All these holes, the original holes, I think that 1 millimeter fiber optics would work if you want to go with all fiber optics. That's up to you. I haven't tried them out yet. I don't think they would put out as much light, so that's why I'm going with the LEDs. So that's where I'm at. So stay tuned. Next part is getting most of these parts primed and painted that I got to get going here. Got to get this done in a few weeks. So stay tuned.